Welcome to The Bad, the Ugly, the Good, and Healing You. I am your host, Dr. Jenita Griffin, also known as Doc G. Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you for being here today. I decided to do the episode like this because I'm still in the process of just trying to get the setup correctly. I do want a whole picture. But it just doesn't seem like it's working out that way. So I wanted to be up close and personal today. You guys, I I had an episode 3 already done, completed, edited, the works. But last night I went to bed with a heavy heart, and this morning I woke up with an entirely different script. And I say that to say that I am not a political person. At least I feel that that is not my niche. I'm not a very outspoken person, but I went to bed with a heavy heart, and I just feel like it is time for me to use my voice. No, I still stay away from politics, but I feel like this is something different going on with the world right now. Um, And I say that to say that this episode today is really a question that I have heard over and over again that I wanted to talk about. And that is, are we living in our end days? I am scared, you guys. I am scared of what's happening in the world today. I am afraid for my children and my children's children. What's happening now, and I always say, it is a spiritual battle that we are going through. And if we don't change the course that we are going in terms of humanity, there will be an end all. Let me just say it that way. I feel like the world is heavy right now. It feels chaotic. It feels uncertain. There is significant unnecessary loss. There is violence. There is division. And most important, there's fear that is taking place. There seems to be a consistent ache and pain in the world that many of us are feeling right now. Well, for a while now, I should just say. I had written a book, and it's been at least 6 months ago. It's a series that I'm writing. I've already written 2 books, and it's called It's Really a Spiritual Battle. Now, book 1 was Mankind Struggle with Depression, and book 2 is Mankind Struggle with Regrets. And I'm working on book 3, which is Mankind Struggle with Addiction. And I say that to say that I haven't released or launched the books yet, much in part to, I don't know, maybe it's fear, in that maybe a lot of people are not ready for what I have to say. Um, and I'm not a controversial, or I am not a person who um, is outspoken about a lot of things. But as long as I could remember, as early as I want to say 10 is the earliest I could remember. Some people may even say as early as 7. Um, I used to have these real night terrors of snakes all the time. Wake the whole house up, screaming, crying, everybody looking for snakes. I see snakes on the wall, everything. And I never understood what that was about, even to this day, really. But some people may say that I may even started my spiritual journey then. But as long as I can remember, I have been going through a spiritual journey since age 10, I want to say. Age 12, I remember me asking God to help me help others, use me to help others. And I didn't necessarily know what I was asking, but I always felt deep down inside that there was something more or something that was just living in me. But not to, kind of just talk about my life history. I say that to say I have been on a spiritual journey for as long as I remember. And it kind of kicked in where it was an awareness that it was actually a spiritual journey in 2007 when my mom passed away. And that brings me to where I wanted to use episode 3 to talk about grief. I was going to talk about grief and, um, more so how to kind of just heal and how we carry it. And, I just feel like with grief, it's not anything that you know how they say time always heals all wounds. That's not true. For me, I feel like grief is something that time just does not heal. It makes it easier to carry as time goes on. But that's another episode, but that was my episode for episode 3. I woke up this morning with a whole different episode, a whole different script, a whole different thing that I wanted to talk about, and I don't know, it kinda scared me, you guys. Again, I'm not one of controversy, I am not one of, putting myself out there, being, criticized and stuff. I'm not one to, take kind to that type of criticism. I do enough for that on my own. But I felt the need that I had to talk about this. And most of you who know me, I am a person who spiritual in a sense. I kind of believe in a lot of things, yes, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But I feel like there are many gods and there are all things. All things are connected. One source, all universe. Um, but needless to say, that kind of led me to discussing this topic and talking about the spiritual battle that I feel like we're in now. There are many people right now who are experiencing depression. And I don't know why that just seems to always have been the forefront of my research papers, my literature, my books, that just always been the forefront. But I feel like we are all going through a spiritual battle in that a lot of people are experiencing what look like depression, when you wake up and you don't know why you're feeling down or cloud hanging over you down in the dumps, but you are experiencing, like I said, what looks like depression. But I think it's something more. I think it's something more. I feel like there's a question, and we are awakening. People like me are awakening, and that we are becoming consciously aware and we are speaking about things, knowing things that just wasn't prevalent before. But the question in this episode to me is that I wanted to discuss because like I said, I hear it a lot that um, are we living in days? Honestly, you guys, my perception is that throughout time there has always been talks, apocalyptic talks and prophecies about doomsday and that we're living in end of days. In my heart of hearts, it looks like it, but in my heart of hearts, I feel like um, not yet. We are not. We are still here. There have been tragedies and atrocities going on for centuries, and we are still here. We are still here. So that's what I wanted to kind of discuss today. Okay. I want to discuss whether or not we are living in the end of days and what my perspective is on it. I wish I could have done live, but I don't know. Uh, one day, it depends on whether or not the feedback and responses into how I truly feel, how it pans out, in other words. But I feel like there are moments in history where time feels split in two. And I'm speaking about moments where people say, um, life will never be the same after that. Or, um, things or events that happen that don't necessarily pan out in a way that it's a collective humanity tragedy, if you will. And in my lifetime, I can think of um, at least two, maybe three in my lifetime, and that is, of course, September 11th and COVID. I mean, guys, September 11th and COVID. And if you're spiritual or reflective, you may find yourself wondering things like, are these signs of the end of days or what's happening? Are we witnessing the end of days in a way of how we used to live? This is what I want to talk about. And to be honest, you guys, this is my stuff, if you will. This is stuff that I am often in deep thought about. And I can be long winded. I can go in and, of course, I know nobody wants to hear that, but I have to kind of take myself back. I have to kind of take myself back. So today I want to offer a different perspective in that this is not the end, it's an awakening. Not an awakening that feels comfortable, but an awakening that is forcing us to see, to feel, and to most importantly, question our reality in ways we have never did before. So let me share my thoughts on what's really happening. Spiritual speaking, the end of days, to me, is misunderstood. I feel like many people think it means that it's the end of the world, but spiritually, it often means that it can be an end of an illusion, exposure of false security, the awakening of hearts, the separation of truth from fear. I feel like September 11th shattered the illusion of our safety. I mean, that was very, very tragic. Very tragic. Some people may say the 2008 financial crisis was also another shattered illusion, and that our financial security was shattered. A lot of things were occurring. Most of all, COVID-19. COVID-19 was the most devastating thing in that, well, event, in that we s- to me it we the illusion of control was shattered, meaning um we were frozen. You don't know how many days when I was a kid that I may have felt like I don't want to go to school today, and wanting to something minor happening, and or we look forward to those snow days, and um to be off of school, and it didn't happen. These kids in this day and age, like, it was a long time, months, where it was frozen, and it changed so many lives in that our kids are broken. Things were happening before, but now it's a different kind of broken, and it's scary, including in my household. So spiritually speaking, these moments did not just collapse our systems. I feel like they were only segments to a process of awakening. Now, think about it. These three events, one spiritual message. September 11th reminded us that life is fragile and not eternal. The 2008, people were asked to, stay without money or status with the financial crisis. And COVID asked us what truly mattered when everything stops. We were frozen. Okay. So, of course, I'm a little off script right now, in that I'm just kind of speaking from the heart. Like I said, this is something I just kind of woke up and just felt a need to talk about. I might not even post this. I don't know. I might just go ahead and post episode 3. But those events revealed some things to us when they happened. It seemed to strip away a lot of distractions, and it exposed our priorities in what matters. So, again, is it the end of days, or is it the end of distractions? I feel like every major spiritual awakening follows chaos. What if these moments are warnings of destruction, but invitations to transform? What if they aren't? And they're just invitations to transform. Yeah, that's right. I say that to say, what if this was just really something um, for us all to just wake up? What if this is just something for us to all unite and change the narrative and the course of humanity? So, and speaking, I know, like I talked about regarding spiritual, biblical things. The Bible speaks of fear, division. The Bible speaks of um, hearts and many people growing cold and mean. Kind of seems like what's happening today. Everybody's angry. Have you drove down the road lately? Road rage is crazy. The people are driving like the compassion is so dimmed right now. But the Bible also speaks of refinement. It also speaks of love, and it speaks of awakening. So maybe spiritual end times are just the end of a spiritual sleep cycle, if you will. When the world feels unstable, fear steps in. Maybe we are awakening, and it means that this is just the end of a sleep cycle that we were in, and it's time for us to wake up. We see division, we see emotional shutdown right now, loss of empathy. Our soul is responding to unstable systems right now, you guys. And I feel like, again, this is a spiritual battle. It's not a battle of good versus bad people. It's awakening versus unconsciousness. It is fear versus truth. And most important, it's love versus disconnection. And maybe spiritual end times is just the end of a sleep spiritual cycle, like the Mayan prophecy talked about. The Mayan prophecy was a cycle, a end of cycle of humanity. That was speaking of, 2012. Time is cyclical, you know, endings are followed by rebirth and beginnings. Um, I feel like, it kind of started with, what is it, the Y2K thing. Um, then, of course, we had 9/11. Maybe we're just maybe that was the end of a life cycle and we are now in the twilight zone. I often say that I feel like we're in the twilight zone. I know a lot of, young people may not um, be aware of that sci-fi series, but I often say I feel like we're in a twilight zone, and we just have not. Earth has ordered it into the twilight zone. So perhaps the world did not end in 2012, based on the Mayan prophecy. Again, maybe it's just a new cycle. Maybe it was a cycle of awakening. So moving into the ugly, you guys. The ugly is that this is just a world that feels like it's unraveling right now. Um, we are certainly living in times where tragedy is no longer rare, it's constant. Many of us are, we wake up to news alerts about shootings, wars, the political unrest, economic stress, disasters, the climate, injustices. Like, the world is unraveling. So, just to speak on, and again, I'm not political or anything. Um, I just wanted to speak on just a little bit regarding the Minneapolis shooting and killing of Renee Nicole Good. Okay. Many of us are deeply impacted. A life was lost. Our communities are shaken. 1 minute, and I don't know. I see 1 minute she's smiling and talking. I seen her smiling, you guys. Next minute, she's gone. Now, I want to be clear that this is not a space of assessing blame or passing out judgment. I try not to do that. What matters to me is a human life was lost. This is the ugly of what's going on in the world. And people are grieving, and the grief ripples far beyond Minneapolis. I feel like the ugly can show up in how we react when we're overwhelmed or when things don't necessarily go our way or go the way that we want them to go. We are in times where fear is pushing people into doing the extremes, you guys. We are very judging, and it's replacing our curiosity. We are in extreme division, and it's replacing our way of how we dialogue to one another, how we communicate. But again, are we living in days time? I know that's debatable, but I say no. I say we are just awakening, and we are no longer asleep, including me. I know most of us feel like the world is falling apart. Nothing feels safe anymore. I fear for our children. Some people may even say God has abandoned us. And spiritually, deep down, I know that not to be true. I believe that this is just a season that has caused many of us to question our faith, our meaning or purpose, our humanity itself. me included, me included. So again, are we living it in days? So I also understand that many people may not understand what I'm saying, and there will be criticism. I get it. This might not be the space for you. But at the end of the day, I feel like we are all one. We are all connected. And what's most important right now is that we have to change the direction we're heading. When fear takes over, we stop listening. We stop seeing each other as human. But I feel like even, with that, the truth is that awakening often feels like chaos before it feels and looks like clarity. But again, um, before an awakening, there's chaos. History has shown us that there has been major shifts in um, humanity, socially, spiritually, emotionally, often preceded by discomfort. But when we witness events like this, even from a distance, our nervous system registers it. Even when we don't even realize it, our bodies and our spirit, our soul absorb that weight of what we're seeing. This is the bad. The bad is not necessarily to us reacting, is that many of us don't know how to process what we're feeling and how we're carrying it. Many people feel overwhelmed right now, unsafe, angry, numb. Talked about that last episode. Hopeless and spiritually confused. Everything feels urgent right now. Everything feels heavy. I feel like we are all consuming, um, constant news, violence, opposite opinions to the point of, like the street extreme division, you guys. Opposite opinions where, you feel so passionate about your side and um, saying the other side is wrong that we are going that we're going to extremes just to get our point across. What happened to agreeing to disagree? What happened to agree to disagree? And just kind of leaving it alone and letting it go. People are getting, let me get this right. The correct terminology now is unalive for their opinions. Something to think about. There's social media outrage. Makes you question whether we were ready for the technology that has that's before us. Makes you wonder. I believe that there are two parallels, meaning, um, yes, we're supposed to we're supposed to be advancing with technology, but I also believe that just as we are advancing with technology, we should all be advancing with consciousness and awareness and spiritual awakening. Both of them can bring balance. Apart, this is what we get. There's social media outrage, trauma without having the time to process. And when tragedies happen, like mass shootings, um, the nervous system goes into survival mode and fear takes over. And this is what's happening now. What's wrong with people? Where's God? Again, are we living in end days? I believe that fear thrives in uncertainty. It grows when we don't stop and think or pause to process it. The ugly is what is happening in the world right now. The bad, and my segment, the good, bad, and ugly. The bad is what's happening and growing inside of us while we watch it all unfold. That's the bad. We cannot turn into a world of hate, people. Looking into all the chaos and I'm always trying to look at the silver lining or lesson. And what I got was in terms of what's happening right now. Again, I say it's a spiritual battle, but the good in what's happening right now is that we are all becoming more aware, including me. I would have never spoken about this. I would have just kept my wisdom in silence, as I have always. Now I have opened myself up to judgment, criticism, and I'm okay with it. Again, as I said before, what happened to agree to disagree? And if this is not a space for you, it's okay. It's okay. We are more aware of the injustices right now. The pain is apparent, the trauma, the suffering. We are all aware of it. And an awareness that our world needs healing. And that's my point. We have to heal this world. Maybe go back to the ancients, how they cared for Mother Earth. I have another theory on that too, you guys. But I don't want to sound outlandish or what have you. But I have another theory. I feel like, Earth is a body, and we are parts of that body. The rivers, the seas, the trees, all of it plays a role, just like our human bodies. And we are killing her from the inside. But awakening doesn't necessarily mean that everything is getting worse. It just simply means that what is hidden is now being revealed in such a way that we could recognize it, acknowledge it, and address it openly. What if we're seeing what we're seeing is not proof that humanity is ending, but proof that the old systems, beliefs, and ways of being can no longer survive in how we live. What if these trying times of chaos is not just punishment or an ending, but just exposure in general? And exposure to the neglect of Mother Earth, the exposure to the injustices, um, the emotional neglect of humanity in general, the spiritual emptiness that many of us feel, and the disconnection from one another. This disconnection is a wake up call. So let's look at responding consciously instead of reacting out of fear. Let's look at choosing compassion and unity over fear and division. Again, we are all connected and live in the same world. We destroy Mother Earth, we destroy ourselves. And that goes for all countries. Then what? These wars are frightening to me, you guys. And there is only one destination Mother Earth will have if we don't change the narrative humanity is writing. Only one destination. We have to change this, not just America, but all countries for the sake of humanity. This is a spiritual battle. So I just want to say this clearly. I don't feel like we're in the end of days. This is the end of denial. This is the end of unconscious living. This is the end of the spiritual disconnected and unaware. This is the end of, I would hope, division. And this is the beginning of awareness, responsibility, healing, love, collectively. I see you and me, and I see hope that you see me and you. This is conscious choice and unity. This is what we need to be looking to do right now. We don't have to heal the world with fear. We heal the world by conscious awareness, global unity, and change. So if you're feeling a little unsettled right now, I am too. But it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means that you are aware and you are. It matters, and awareness is the beginning of awakening. This is not the end of humanity. We are not in the end days. At least I feel that we're not. Like I said, that's debatable. It's not the end of hope. It's not the end of God's presence. After all, we're in a spiritual battle. It's awakening. It's an invitation to heal. It's an invitation to clearly see. Um, and at the end of the day, we have to choose love to grow towards healing humanity. That said, this is something I just had to share, you guys. Again, I'm not the one who speaks vocally. I just kind of started my podcast and still working out the kinks, you guys. Still working out the kinks with this tech and the setup and everything. I just really wish I could um, get it to where it's my whole body and get the camera and everything. But again, any fellow podcasters out there, please let me know. Any suggestions in the comments. When I did my first two episodes, it was just kind of distant and blurry. And this is why I'm changing it to where um, I could be closer today to where it can be a little clearer. And this is why I did this today. But hopefully, I can get that fixed and um, you can see all of me. But I want to thank you for sitting with me. I'm Dr. Jenita Griffin, also known as Doc G. Until next time, love you, be good to you, and expect great things for you. That's my sign off. Again, I have not published, well, not I have published. I have not launched my two books yet. Let me get up and get them. But I have written, they're quick reads, and I have written um, the first two. It's really a spiritual battle. Once I kind of get the story straight on the website, then I'll just go ahead and put them out there. And if you, again, if this is something that you're interested in, book one is Mankind Struggle with Depression, and book two is Mankind Struggle with Regrets. And I do have working on book three, which is almost done, Mankind Struggle with Addiction. And I also do quotes, calendar quote inspirations. Um, those of you who are subscribed, so be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Those of you who are subscribed to my website and everything, I do daily, not daily. I cut that out, but weekly quotes where um, I just kind of share inspiration to everyone. And also do calendars. I've been doing calendars since 2019. So if you also would like to buy a calendar, 2026, they will also be on my website in the website store. I want to say hopefully I can have that done by Wednesday. I have someone internally um, at the website company trying to fix it because, again, I am no tech person. But this is my calendar for 2026, and it just has my quotes. So again, you can again you can go to my website. I want to say as early as Wednesday. Well, I'm going to be posting on Wednesday my my episode, so it'll be fixed by then. So if you are interested in purchasing a calendar, please go to my website and you can purchase it there. And I probably won't publish the books or post the books to where you can purchase them until maybe Wednesday too. Who knows? But thank you. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions or if, and I want to say again, this is me. I know episode one and two, I was just kind of feeling my way and trying to be comfortable with the camera or be comfortable with talking to myself because that's what it looks like. And trying to be comfortable with that. I hope to do some lives. You guys, I'm a poet. I have so many great poems. Like I want to say, maybe they're spiritual in ways too, but I do have poems and I would like to create a segment, I want to say on Fridays, where it's 30 minutes on Fridays, where it could be just like a creative expression story time where I could do, say a couple of my poems, as well as invite other people and guests to who do poetry or who may even do art, just to kind of come on and be a guest and present their things. Just making sure that you guys have that copyrighted before you do that. But if that is something that you're interested in, uh, inbox me because I can probably try to have the segment available to begin as early as I want to say maybe February, the first week in February, to where I will start doing that segment. And again, it would just be 30 minutes on a Friday where we can just do like a creative expressions story time. Okay. And people can share. All right. Well, again, I am Dr. Jenita Griffin. I want you to take care of yourselves, be safe, um, be aware, you guys, and always, you know, always, I feel like, I try to treat other people the way I would want them to treat me. Consider that concept as well. But I'm just going to stop talking. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Thank you for sitting with me and be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day. And until next time.